Welcome to Home Dad Chat, brought to you by the National At Home Dad Network. My name is Brock,
My name is Danny.
and we are here to talk about life as stay at home dads. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
No, I don't want much. I even love handmade crafts made of macaroni. Come on now, you should know me. Times I might eat too much. No worry about my weight, got the dad bod rocking on me. Sketches on my feet, cargo shorts look good on me. I'm a dad, that's what I do.
Hey, everybody! Welcome to the show. We're back. It's been fun. Danny, what you been up to, man?
Summer. Kids have been out of school for it's a week today. So had a couple of days off last week, 3 days off last week that we just did almost nothing. Had one violin lesson, and that was the first one of the summer, and that was the only thing we did. Everything else was just stay up a little later and sleep in, and do same old, same old. And then summer camp started this week for my two younger kids. One's doing a STEAM camp, and one's doing a culture around the world, I think is what it was called. But basically just learning. It's kind of like an old timey geography course, even, but with crafts. So came home with a paper bag that was made to be a beaver. So it had the little teeth that, and she'd drawn eyes on it. It had a tail glued on and all that. And she goes, "You do it like this, Dad," and puts her hand in it and flaps the mouth at me. And I'm like, I know how paper bag puppets work, but I didn't say that. I let her, reveal the secrets of the universe to me, but just straight into summer, busy, just busy.
It sounds like it. Nothing like that at all for me, but we're juggling. Corey and I both working from home and having two kids in the house and trying to keep them occupied with things. I will say that probably the biggest accomplishment for this week is that after a week or so of being, actually almost 2 weeks now of being out of school, the kids have both destroyed both of their rooms. And actually we had a window AC unit that took a crap on us. So my kids got to do the thing that they love to do the most, which is have a sleepover in my son's room. So because he has the working AC unit, so they had their fun time of doing that, and I was like, I'm done with it. And we got back from being at my parents' place for the weekend for my 25th class reunion, and on Monday I was like, y'all are cleaning up your rooms, because we bought a portable AC unit at Aldi, which works really awesome for my daughter's room. And I was like, you're going to clean your guys' rooms up. And I just sent them upstairs. Took them about 4 hours. They, of course, played and cleaned and did all kinds of other things. And I didn't go up and be like, are you cleaning or anything? I just let them do their thing, because
let them do it. Yeah.
I had stuff to do. And by golly, those rooms look awesome. They did a great job. So
fantastic.
I felt pretty good about that, honestly.
Yeah, you should. I mean, that's a life skill, man. Of all the parenting things you try to have to teach your child, how to clean up after yourself is it should be number one,
I agree.
Maybe number two, how to eat, maybe, but yeah, number top five at least things you should teach your child, because I know too many people that, I don't know. It's funny because the people that I know that are the messiest, and I'm not a good example. I'm very, very chaotic. I've got stuff everywhere. It's just what I do. I've got ADD. I just got everything everywhere, but the people I know that are not just slightly disorganized or a little messy, but just don't clean up after themselves. They just don't, they'll leave their plate and bowl or whatever on the table and walk away like someone else is supposed to do it. And I've known 3 people like that. And I've talked to their parents, and every parent said, no, we told them every single time. They just never did it. They just it never sunk in or whatever. And I'm like, you're an adult and you don't clean up after yourself?
I wonder
I get it. I'm sorry.
I wonder, though, were there any consequences to not following through? Because that's the other thing with that is, you know what I mean? My kids knew, if they didn't clean their rooms, they weren't going to get to do the fun things that they like to do. Like nothing was happening. It was a complete halt until that chore got taken care of. So, and I think that sometimes also parents, they put their kids in motion, and then the kids, of course, they pull their own, sit in protest or whatever. And next thing there's bending of rules and oh, okay, like just all these different things, and not enough like do this, like, or you're not getting screen time, or you're not getting whatever, like whatever their things are that they like to do until it gets cleaned up, and just don't budge on it.
Right.
Because the minute that you give in is the minute they know they got you.
Well, like one of our favorite authors said, the behavior that is rewarded will be repeated.
Ooh, could that be a Catherine Perlman quote?
It is. It's one of my favorites, actually. I sent it to my wife when we were in Orlando at the convention, and I'm like, I sent actually a picture of the slide, and she said, "Don't try that on me." I'm like, "Oh, I would never, my love." And yes, I will. Like, this is obviously just for children. I'm like, no, this works for everybody. Everybody. And I'm not sure that she used the example or someone else used the example, but the story that I've heard in the past is, Shamu, the killer whale, does all those amazing tricks. How do you think that they get him to do those tricks? They give him a fish, and every time he does a trick, he gets a fish. And it's like, it can't be that simple, but it pretty much is. And humans really not that far away from dolphins and killer whales and stuff. So it seems to work.
The mind knows. I do this, I get that. Why do you think Pavlov's dog? Like,
right? Yeah.
Classical conditioning.
Is that a bell ringing? Yeah.
Right.
That's why Pavlov always had such great hair. Did you know that?
No.
Because of all of his conditioner.
Oh, good one.
Yeah. Probably not an original, but still good enough.
Yeah. Hey, so I had an interesting thing happen this past week. A local dad had reached out to join the dads group. And he was saying that his wife had gotten a hold of a copy of a book that had happened to be a memoir of a stay-at-home dad who had talked to a whole bunch of other stay-at-home dads and put together this book and published it and put it out there for the world, and was so inspired by said book that she told her new stay-at-home husband that he should look into a dad's group. And he found the Cincinnati Dads group. And so, of course, I have vetting questions when you enter the group. And one of the questions is how did you hear about the group? And he put in there that story about the book. And so I typically, like, a lot of times when people say or answer that question, how did you find the group? Like, I read it and then, just kind of, okay, great. Thanks for answering all the questions. You fit the bill and you go. But with this one, I was like, I gotta know what book this was. I just want to double check. And so I messaged him and said, hey, just curious. Would you happen to remember the title, or would your wife happen to know the title of that said book? And he goes, no, I can't really remember what it was. I maybe the name was Shannon. I'm not sure exactly. And I said, was it a yellow covered book? And he goes, yeah. And I was like, the ultimate stay-at-home dad book. And he was like, yeah, that's it. And I'm like, yep, I know Shannon. Welcome to the stay-at-home dad world. And kicked off and had a really good conversation with him and got him connected with the organization and the dads group here and stuff like that. And he was telling me that, he's been a dad for about a year and just recently, I guess, like, for lack of better terms, like, stepped away from what he was doing and is now a stay-at-home dad and is just trying to figure it out. And so just kind of nice how all of that aligned for him. And I just love how Shannon's book just pops up in these like real world regular scenarios. People are just like, yeah, do you know that book? I'm like, yeah, I know that book.
I happen to know that book and I might be in it,
Right.
Yeah. Not me, but you. So yeah, that's awesome. That's great. And it's so funny too, because it's such a good, like, just like everything you want to know is in there at some point. Granted, there's probably, spots you're going to run into with your kid that's not going to exactly address. But as far as being an at-home dad, at-home parent, really, Shannon nailed it. And it's just, I mean, we've said this 100 times, but I don't think it always bears repeating. It can never be said enough. He really just nailed it. Well done.
Definitely. So. Well, and two, if you haven't seen on Instagram, he has officially announced that he is starting up the SC Rights, which is basically kind of dealing with like copyrights and other things. I love his thing. SC Rights, like Shakespeare, but with bitchin' forearms. So I'm happy for it, man. Yeah, I'm happy for it. So, I saw. I was like, I got to mention this. This is really cool because he's getting into some freelance writing and stuff like that again. And so hopefully he's able to get a lot of stories out there for the world to read and get to continue to tell all the things that dads do. So I wanted to.
It's good stuff.
Wanted to promote that, but yeah, man. The summer is gonna definitely be interesting. Like you said, you're busy. I think that a lot of other dads are in the same boat you're in and just trying to juggle all the kids in different ways. And then, there's quite a few that are working dads that are at home, like myself, who are trying to, juggle everything, plus like trying to, put tethers on the backs of the kids so that they're not running into the office where mom's working at.
Right.
You all get this length of rope. You may go in circles as much as you'd like. However,
you'll be fine. Yep.
Cross this line and the pit will open up and an alligator will swallow you whole.
Yes, just don't go there.
Don't go there. Yeah.
And I want to say too that I think a lot of times, especially when you're a new parent, you kind of look at what other people are doing and you look at what you're doing, and that comparison is there. And I think everybody's heard the expression that, if you look at what someone is doing on social media, right, that's their highlight reel. That's the best of the best of the best. I mean, that's literally the things 9 times out of 10, you don't see a lot of times the people that, like me. I showed up at camp yesterday looking like I'd gotten attacked by a flock of birds. I hadn't had a shower. I was wearing, I think, the shirt I slept in and a pair of gym shorts, and I didn't have to get out of the car, but I'm just like, I can't, man. We got to go. I'm not 100% this morning. And then we just got to do this thing. The kids were clean and the kids' clothes were clean and they had all their supplies and their snack and all that. So I did my job. Right. But it was atrocious. It was just terrible. And so listening to something like, well, we've got all these plans, or we're doing all these plans. I have had entire summers where because I set a goal for each of the kids each year, each summer usually. And there have been years we haven't reached any of our goals really. And there are times when we haven't done anything all summer, like all summer. We barely went to the pool. We barely camped. We didn't do anything. We just kind of stayed inside, and that's sometimes what you need to do. Yeah. Because dealing with everything that you've got to do as a homemaker, you're doing all of the chores and you're doing all of the what's called the cognitive labor of getting the kids wherever they need to go, and then taking care of the kids and getting them fed, getting them clean, everything that you've got to do, something's got to give at some point. Yeah. And sometimes, I mean, I bet I've had I don't want to say a whole week of constant, but I've had probably a week where we spent more time sitting on the couch on a screen than we did anything else. Other than like sleeping and, the obviously big stuff, but like any other activities, it was like, no, today I need you all to sit there because I've got to, I've got to put in the new dishwasher, and I need y'all safe and not in my way, and don't try to help, just stay there. And here's turn the TV on, watch, it wasn't Bluey at the time, but it's Bluey now, watch whatever you watch and enjoy it and let me get this thing done.
Right. Bring me a Gatorade every once in a while. That's about it.
Right. Don't try to hold the flashlight. I'm unfortunately contractually obligated to slap you in the head if you hold the flashlight. That's just like a dad thing. It's just I won't do it hard, but there's a requirement in the contract of physical contact to the back of your head where your reset button is.
That's a good Father's Day gift right there. A headlamp. That's what you don't have to worry about holding a flashlight.
Nice. Yeah, that would be hilarious too. I could see me giving that to, like, especially my stepdad. Like, here, I got you this, so I don't have to hold the flashlight. Man, he'd have punched a hole in me. Like, I don't need that. Why would you get me that? So you don't hit me in the head, sir. But anyway, yeah. But just the realization that everybody's day looks different every day.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It from day to day. I mean, tomorrow we've got all these plans. None of them may happen. It's just like being here on the podcast. I always have a great time when we get here, when we're talking and everything's great. But the mountain you have to climb sometimes to get to the point where you can have a little time like we have now. All the things you have to arrange, all the things you have to do, and it's worth it. This is part of my self-care.
Gotta stack all the dominoes just right so you can tiptoe away without them falling over.
Right. Yeah. Knock over that house of cards.
Yeah. So I totally get that. Yeah. I think that, when it's nice outside, you try to get out when you can. If you don't have the energy for it, or the day before you already had a nice day and you're like, today, no matter what, I don't care if it's sun shining or not, we're staying inside. Like, yeah, just there is nothing wrong with that. And I definitely yearn for rainy days, because those are movie days, usually.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Actually, the kids, they enjoy getting to watch movies, and of course, now there's all kinds of stuff that's out there ready to go. So the kids are getting excited. Actually, which I just heard today, if I'm not mistaken, Paramount Plus will be getting the new Super Mario movie streaming on the 28th of June, I believe. So
nice.
that will be, of course, on everybody's
checking my calendar.
List there on that one. So definitely looking forward to that coming out. But no, I mean, just getting out there to do stuff. I think that having the local dads to be able to meet up with is definitely a help. Just because it's nice to be able to get the kids together, and then as a dad, just sit on the park bench while the kids are playing and just have a moment where you just get to talk to another adult, and or you both just sit there and the very first thing you do is sigh really loud. I've been in that position before. You just like drop the kids off, sit down, you're just like, and you're just like, yep, that's it.
When they talked about, and I think I probably saw it in some war movie that I watched a long time ago, they talked about the 1,000-yard stare.
Yes.
Where you're just shell shocked and you've seen it all and you've done it all, and it's just like, yeah, okay. And you see parents a lot of times, especially with small kids, and they've got that 1,000-yard stare. And they haven't seen it everything, but they've seen too much. They've had enough. They're at their limit. It's like, yeah, I need you to go play on that slide. I don't care what you do. Yes, you can jump in the puddle. I don't care. I just need it to be quiet for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't even get to poop in private. No, I do now. But like, as a parent, you're like, what? Why are you in here? I don't want you in here. But I need a cookie. There are no cookies in here, I swear.
I like to mess with with Corey when she's sometimes in the bathroom, because there's a little bit of a gap underneath the door, and I'll stick my fingers underneath there and be like, "Are you done yet?" And she's like, "Go away." just to mess with her from time to time. It's just fun, because the kids don't do that anymore. So gotta keep it laughing.
Yep, gotta keep some humor in the relationship.
Right, exactly.
So, now, branching away from humor for a second. Now, this is June, so Pride is Pride Month, and that's big. But one of the big events that the day this is going out, I believe, which will be Monday, is Juneteenth.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yep.
Yep. We have I'm not going to be able to go to our local, like our in-town celebration here. I was thinking I would, but I made other plans for Father's Eve, basically. So the day before, I won't be able to make it. But the realization that it's there and it's such a big thing in my community was just amazing. Learning more and more about the people that are around us. But Juneteenth is a huge celebration, and it's a celebration and the commemoration of the emancipation of slaves.
Yeah,
when they made the official final announcement, there are no more slaves. We cannot have that. Yes, let's go. And that's coming up this whole weekend, and I'm actually kind of torn. I'm going to have a great time and go, I'm actually going to go see Eric Schoberg, and it's going to be great, but I'm going to miss everything here because they're doing it on Saturday and, what have you. But I think it's really, I don't think it gets enough, I guess, coverage would be the word I want to use. I don't think it gets, enough recognition, because a lot of times it's hard to even say that word, to say slavery. Slavery is terrible and awful, and we all know it, but we also know the history of the world where a lot of our ancestors were probably had a big part of that, and it's one of those, well, I would never do that. And I think everybody we know, no one would do that, of course. But the fact that it was there, and it's kind of a really tough thing to admit that, your great grandfather or whatever was someone that owned slaves. It's terrible and it's awful. But for me, Juneteenth is just such a celebration instead. It's a celebration of the culture of people of color. It's a celebration of freedom, even more so to me than Independence Day. July 4th, granted, it's about freedom, and I'm all for it, but I don't know, it's turned into such a fireworks and hot dogs kind of celebration. It's just like, well, we go out on the lake and have some beer and fire up the grill and blow up something. Okay, cool. But there's no real celebration. No, I mean, there is some, but it isn't as focused on the actual celebration of freedom. Like Juneteenth has appeared to be here to me in my experience the last several years. It's been really, really amazing because it's much more, it feels like a much more celebration of freedom than any other holiday.
Well, I don't remember ever even learning about it in high school, honestly. No. Like, I mean,
no.
Or any school for that matter, to be truthful. Like, I don't even know when it actually kind of came to be an actual holiday. I don't know how long ago that was, but yeah, it's not anything that is what was ever taught. I mean, granted,
I don't either, but I Google it, so
that's what I figured. I was giving you
early
time.
Celebrations dated to 1866.
Wow. Okay.
So that's early celebrations, like small community gatherings. And the announcement was in Texas. So that's where the community gatherings 1866 started out with. They're in Texas, recognized as a federal holiday in 2021. So that would make perfect sense that we didn't learn about it in school because we went to school before 2021. Okay. It was not a federal holiday until 2 years ago.
Okay, that's what I thought. I was going to say, I thought it just was recent that it became a federal holiday. Well, and the whole reason, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it was announced in Texas was that was like the last southern state that they had to get to be able to basically word of mouth.
Hanging on.
I mean, just to.
Yeah, I think it was the time it takes for word to travel. I mean, they didn't have the internet and they didn't have phones. So, yeah. But,
yeah, because
it's very cool.
It is, and it's definitely something that I'm glad that my kids are going to learn about. The thing for me being an adult is being able to look back and see just the atrocities that people have gone through over the years, just because of their color. And I grew up in a very white town. I did not actually, I think I was in college maybe when I met my first like black person. And like, just honestly, like any people of color for that matter. And just to come around anybody and like learn something different, like it was like, okay, who are you? What did you grow up in? Like just learning different things. But at the same time, like I'm glad that one, like that's one of the reasons that Corey and I will not leave Cincinnati is just because there's such a melting pot of people. We get people all the time like, "Oh, are you going to move out of Cincinnati?" We're like, "No, we're not." Like, we love it here. Our kids have the opportunity for meeting people of all skin colors, all cultures, like all nationalities. You know, they've got great job prospects here, schooling, all that kind of stuff. It's like, I know, like, honestly, I find it interesting, you know, people who get so stuck in their own, you know, white world somewhere else and can't handle when things get mixed up with other people coming in that aren't white, and they're like, "Oh, what are they doing here?" And it's all negative talk the entire time. And so, because I see that even when I go back home, and it's one of those deals where it's just like it's closed-mindedness and just such like blinders on. And you know, it's so old school, old feeling when you go in back into that. So
it's not progressive. You know,
no, it's
it's not dealing with the progress of the world around us. I was talking to, we had a local pride celebration here over the weekend, and took my oldest son out there, and it was a great time overall, but they were protesters. And we walked past the protesters at one point, and my son actually took his rainbow umbrella and put it up to his side so he didn't have to see them, because he told me, "Dad, if they say something, I'm going to say something." And I'm like, "Yeah, I do not want to get into a fight." Okay. I just don't. And even if we did get into a fight, someone's going to hurt, maybe not. But even if we start, you know, barking back at him, there's a cop right there who's probably going to stop the whole thing. So let's just ignore him. So he put his umbrella up as he walked by, but I didn't. You know, I'm just walking, and the almost hatred that a couple of people looked at me at, right? And I'm talking to one of the people at Pride later, you know, and we're talking about, you know, everything's going, how it really worked out, and everything worked out well. And I said, you know, I think the hardest thing for a lot of people that grow up in a small community is what comes down to xenophobia. You know, anything different, anything's, you know, meaning really alien, but anything strange or different or odd, you immediately judge it against the only thing you've ever known, right? And that's normal. You know, this is how life is.
Yeah.
You know, it's like all cars are gasoline powered. You know, if you grew up in a city, say, you probably don't know a lot about diesel engines, right? Whereas on the other end of it, you go to out in the farms and most things run on diesel, like tractors and what have you. And that's a dumb analogy, but just to say, so if you grow up around diesel and that's all you've ever seen, you know, suddenly you see a car go by that doesn't run on diesel. It doesn't have the smell. It doesn't have the sound. Everything's different. You're like, what's wrong with that thing? Now, cars is easy because you just look at it and that's the simple leap, you know, of logic. But to find someone that to you doesn't speak the same, doesn't look the same, doesn't laugh at what you laugh at, doesn't eat what you eat, and everything about it, unfortunately, where we originally were hopefully, I believe, intended to be a melting pot of all peoples, we've gotten to the point where, no, this is my community. This is my little town. And no, I don't want you here.
Yeah.
Why not? I just don't. Well, why? What? And I have to say, I love the diversity that I've found, and I'm seeking out, in fact, in this area, because I want to try your food. You know, I want to dance like you dance, and I want to laugh at what you laugh at. I want to see what you see in, you know, a sunrise or a sunset. I want to know, you know, what each individual and then people's see, you know, how they see the world, because if not, you're just not learning anymore.
Right.
You're not growing anymore. Right. I don't know why I'm going off on this, but it was a very poignant moment this weekend at Pride that kind of brings it right back for Juneteenth as well.
Yeah.
Is the understanding that someone doesn't look like you. That's cool. That's good.
Yeah. You know? And too, like, you know, just talking about Pride and Juneteenth, like, you know, being white and being a Christian, like, I honestly, like, there's so many times here of late, just basically feel like I just want to like sink into like a turtle shell, because like the way that people who are classifying themselves the same as I classify myself as a Christian, and someone who is supposed to be loving others. The amount of hate, the amount of just vile, toxic language that comes out of people who also are like, oh yeah, like I love Jesus, and just completely miss the message. It's just it's hard. It's really hard to see and hear these people talk, and it's just difficult because you're like, you're missing the mark. You're missing the whole big picture. I honestly, one of the things I saw recently, our Eddie posted, he's really big into tennis shoes and t-shirts and stuff that kind of match. And he had posted a picture of this like rainbow t-shirt, and in the middle of the shirt it said Jesus is inclusive. And to me, like, that's one of the things I really try to tell folks who are a part of the LGBTQ community is like, hey, like, I love you, and I'm a Christian. Like, the two go hand in hand, honestly. Like, and it should, and but it's so hard. But it's a combination of that, and then this whole new thing of we're taking the rainbow back, which just pisses me off to no end, because it's just like one more thing. And it enrages me that's the thing. I get it. Okay. Christians forever have held on to the rainbow as this, like, it's a symbol, and it's from God, and it has this meaning with the ark and everything. But to say that
part of a covenant with God, very few covenants that God made with us. So
true. But to say that, like, that a group of people took that away or anything else, to be honest, outside of it being written down in scripture, like, the Christian faith does not use the rainbow for anything at all. Like, and for a group to use it in a way to be like, hey, like, this is our way of showing inclusivity and trying to, portray a positive message and some, in what we're doing, for Christians to be like, oh, we're taking that back. It's such a bullying tactic. It's so BS. And I'm so fucking pisses me off. I'm just gonna put it that way. Like, seriously, like, I just want to. There's Christians just want to grab you by the scruff of your neck.
Yeah, and Christendom and Christianity have such a long, horrifying history. In many occasions when they did not act as a Christian, they just. I mean, and it's. There's so many people that have turned away from organized religion, and I absolutely understand because of those types of things. I was like, I don't blame you. That's but the thought of, well, this is my religion, this is my belief. Okay, cool. You have to live that way too. No, I don't. That's not. That makes no sense whatsoever. You may want me to live that
cuts
way,
the
but
whole
you
thing
can't.
of free will out of the whole picture.
Right. I mean, and what if we talk to, because I will say the red flag words that people will say, what about Sharia law? If that's their religion and that's what their religion believes, or do we have to live by that? And of course, in America, a lot of people, especially evangelicals and very, very loud Christians, let's say, believe we live in a Christian country, and we don't. That's not the case. We are a majority of Christians, yes, but it doesn't define I should say it shouldn't define our laws, our regulations, how we treat people. None of that should have to do with any group of people's faith,
right?
Because faith and belief are very strong, very personal, very deep things. But that doesn't mean that you get to make the laws for everybody else, Yeah. I mean, that separation of church and state was very distinctive, or it was supposed to be very distinctive.
I was going to say, it's supposed to be, but boy, has it really got mucked up over the years for sure. So anyway, we'll step away from that a little bit.
Get a little heavy, man. Get a little heavy. What are we doing?
know.
I started with Juneteenth, and we just went straight out to Danny's a communist or something. I don't know. I will say I am not a communist. Anybody listening? It's not. I don't want to have anything to do with communism. Thank you. I don't believe that it would work. But anyway.
Hey, let's turn So I will say this, just to sort of turn the page very kindly, find a Juneteenth celebration somewhere and go be a part of it, or take the time to learn what's been going on with Juneteenth and why it's important to celebrate it, and maybe even like find a few small little things that you can share with your kids, or go to the library. I'm sure they have a display, and find a kid appropriate book that you can read to your kids, and give them some extra knowledge that you yourself might have not grown up with. So along with knowledge and learning new things, I don't know about you, but the countdown to HomeDadCon is ticking away. And
I'm not ready, man. I thought I'd be ready. I'm not ready. What are we, 3 months now?
Almost 3 months out. Which, by the way, well, when this comes out, though, unfortunately, it'll be over. But Southwest right now, well, from the 13th to the 15th, like this is the 13th now when we're recording this, is doing a 40% off sale. So hopefully people are going to get to see that and get to jump on that, because that's a good deal. But yeah, man, I mean, it's coming around, which means that the one thing that we get to do is talk to speakers who are going to be presenting at HomeDadCon. And boy, they're starting to line up already in our schedule. I saw where over the weekend, it's like 3 of them came in. I was like, wow, man, like we're really going to start putting these in here. This is going to be exciting.
Yeah, we've got 3 for July scheduled up. And we've got, I know I've talked to, 2 people that are part of the same breakout. And they're, we'll wait and see when we can get them on as well. So I will say our co-committee chair, Keith Nagel, has been really putting out the emails to speakers just like it's a professional. It's a professional. And Keith, I will say this, anybody knows I have no relationship with Keith other than know him from the board, and hopefully he considers me a friend. I'm not trying to kiss his ass. I don't get anything from it. Keith is a very intelligent person, and he's very organized. And he has the drive and the energy to get things done. And the things he's done with being co-chair for the planning committee for the convention, and along with Greg Clapp, who's the other co-chair. Yeah. These guys are knocking it out of the park. Yeah. So I think it's indicative of the fact that we should just have the convention every year somewhere in the Midwest.
I mean, it does make it, I don't know, gosh. That you're gonna ruffle some feathers for some people that live on the coastlines. I'm gonna tell you.
Well, if they want to build a solid group of as we say, boots on the ground, who are going to help us get that convention going in, I don't know, Baltimore or something.
That sounds like some shots fired right there. That's what that
is. I just like being able to drive. This is the coolest thing for me. I'm going to get my Suburban. I'm going to put whatever I want in it, carry whatever I want, don't worry about weight, and drive out to Milwaukee.
Heck yeah.
And this is perfect. I'm going to be picking people up at the airport or taking them to the airport at the end of it. This is a dream for me. I love it.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I'm in the same boat. I mean, I've only got a 6-hour drive, so that's nothing. That'll be a lot of fun, honestly. So I'm looking forward to it as well.
Road trip.
The other, definitely. The other thing too is, talking about having guests on that are speakers. There's a couple people, one group in particular that is going to be there. I'm not going to break the announcement on it, but we've already interviewed one specific.
So how vague are you going to try to be here? Because no one else is going to know who we're talking about.
Oh, if they've been listening,
say something.
If they've been listening, they might figure it out.
They can't guess.
It's okay. Though hopefully we can get them on before things take place, because I'm super excited.
See what I can do.
I'm super excited. I don't think it'll take much, honestly, but I think that the fact that,
why don't you say it?
No,
why don't you want to say it?
Because I don't want to. I want to wait till the announcement comes out. Okay?
All right.
That's all.
You're right. No, you're right. Yeah. We should
But
wait.
anyway, yeah. So we've got some great announcements coming out with different speakers and whatnot. Oh, I
Mhm.
know the other thing too. If you because this is going to come out after it takes place, but if you don't typically watch the Booze Brothers on Friday nights, you
Brothers and
definitely.
Booze,
Oh, did I? Why always say
right?
Bruise? I always say Bruise Brothers. That's not right. Yeah,
Because
Brothers and
Blues
Boo.
Brothers. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's
We're on
why.
a mission from God.
Brothers and Booze on Friday nights on YouTube or Facebook.
Hmm.
Definitely check out the Friday episode because JHG is going to be on there talking with them and going to be talking about HomeDadCon and, of course, talking about beers. And I believe he's going to be talking about the brewery hop that's going to be taking place on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
So that's I'm interested in that because I don't even know all the breweries that are involved in it, honestly.
Well, I'm just going to say it. Drink Wisconsinly is is really. Every time I hear the name, I'm like, this is perfect, right? This is the perfect name for a brewery in Milwaukee. But yeah, the brew hop is going to be pretty cool. They're also, I think he's going to talk about several of the electives. Because the convention itself we're going to tease that out. I guess we're not going to tell everybody everything right now. Fine. But we're going to tease that out and talk to some of the speakers and get some people in to really kind of express a little bit about what they're going to talk about. But the electives, the extracurricular stuff.
Yeah.
The trips that we've had in the past, like the guys still talk about the time we went kayaking.
Oh, yeah. In Minneapolis.
It was just, it's Orlando, I thought.
There were two. There were two. We did Orlando.
Okay.
That was a few guys, but there was actually one with REI that Keith set up because his wife works for REI, and they kayaked down the river when we were in Minneapolis too. That was a large group of dads actually that did that one.
Yeah, and that's the kind of stuff that, I mean, we always talk about the community of the convention, the reason to go to the convention. I think, one, it is definitely a career development thing. You are going to learn stuff about this career that you're in that's going to help you deal with it on a day-to-day basis, going to teach you things. We've got some really cool speakers coming in to teach us some really neat stuff that we're not talking about. But that community, finding those people that are like, we've had people that have started up a friendship that's been going for 10 years. And the only time they really see each other is at the convention.
Yeah.
Or virtual, because it was just like, God, this guy's amazing. I mean, I've got a friend from the very first convention I went to, and he said it best. He said, it feels like we went to school together.
Yeah.
It feels like we were we went to school together, and then we kind of, parted ways during the college years or whatever. And now we met back up after, and I've never met that man before.
Yeah.
But
Definitely.
that moment and that convention and that community that we pick up, it's really so valuable.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think that too. It's like the phrase that I like to use is the friendships are like an old pair of jeans, you put back on after years, like just fits just right, hanging out, and it's all good. So definitely. I think the other thing too, I was looking at, we've got guys who I think are looking into doing their morning runs and whatnot. Since I'm driving up, am considering actually bringing my one of my road bikes with me and throwing on my National At Home Dad Network Dads Don't Babysit cycling kit and taking off and doing a little ride.
That would be interesting. Yeah. I mean, that's not something you could do if you were flying in. So I don't think we could make it like a real big event or whatever, but we do have a lot of cyclists in the group.
Yeah. I just, figure if there's any locals or whatever, that might be a fun thing to do. I haven't quite like fully searched it out yet, but I was just like, that would be fun, especially along the lake, doing a ride there like that. And I'm sure there's got to be some sort of trail to be able to jump on and, do a section or whatever. So I'm going to be looking into that because that'd be fun. It's going to probably be really nice weather for a ride, honestly. So as long as it's not raining, like I will probably bring my bike with me, honestly. So
yeah,
but yeah. So I mean,
if it doesn't rain, this will be like the first convention we didn't have, like a huge weather front or a tornado or a flood, or had so many hurricane come in through Raleigh twice. Yeah, but the weather should be pretty good. I'm going to be very happy with the weather. I will say you're going to want to bring a long sleeve shirt and a hoodie just in case.
I love long sleeve shirts and hoodies.
I'm learning to love them as well. I actually asked if there was a way that we could get an option for the t-shirts for this convention to be long sleeve. And I haven't gotten a reply back from that, but I know a guy.
I want to
make my own shirt.
Yeah, I want a zip up hoodie with just the National at Home Dad logo printed on it, sort of like because I've got my
board member printed under it.
No, it doesn't have the board. I'm talking for everybody. Jeez, so self-centered. My goodness. Everybody else be like, Danny, we want one too, for crying out loud. And not just don't say it. Be like, well, then join the board. But that is an option. That is an option.
You still have to. You still have to buy it, but you can get it.
But no, I mean, I've got my brewery zip up hoodie that I love wearing when it gets chilly. It's nice and comfy. I remember going to Dad 2.0 and they had sold the t-shirt long sleeve hoodies that are the thinner ones, I still wear that one today. It's nice, but something like that would be really cool swag to put into the merch shop through what is it? Tees? Is it Teespring? Springs? Teespring. I think it's something like that. Yeah.
Teespring.
So
yeah, I'm trying.
Who knows?
I was going to tell you, I'm still putting, and I still want a trucker hat. I just want a trucker hat. Why can't we get a trucker hat? Come on.
I thought somebody was doing a hat. Isn't there somebody that's working on a hat?
No. He's just remaking his standard canvas, the National at Home Dad Network hat that he's got, because he's kind of worn it out.
It's been a few years.
Yeah. I have one just like it, and I don't wear it because I'm just like, no, I'm gonna destroy it. I need to keep it because there's not another one. But yeah, we need a trucker hat, we need long sleeve shirts, we need all the stuff. But it's a little bit more difficult with an organization like we've got, and a brand and a nonprofit and all that stuff to really start. It's not like I could go do it for myself, and I would just go, okay, Teespring or wherever, make me put my logo on a coffee mug or on a, whatever. And you could just go and order, well, I want a coffee mug with your logo on it. We don't have those in stock. They just make one and send it out,
Right. Well, and you have to do it in batches too. With Spring, I believe it has to be done in batches. So you almost have to get a group of guys and be like, all right, we all want this. Okay, we're all going to order it at the same time. And I think too, the other part of that is, I will say this, if there's something like that people are wanting, they should reach out to the board so that they can see what the batch amount is, because I know that it can be raised and lowered to be able to get that order situated. So if that's, where you're like, hey, I really want this item, but it's telling me it's going to be projected 3 months out type of deal. Well, that's because the batch order is really high. And so at that point, you want to find out, how many, so that you can grab up some other guys, be like, hey, does anybody else want this? Order it now type of deal. And that way we can get it sooner, because that's how that works. So hopefully that helps some people if they're like, I really want
makes sense,
this or that. So yeah, it's really simple for, JHG or Keith or whoever to go into the shop and just change the number so that we can get those batches, lowered to get people what they want. So hopefully that works out. That's the way I would go. Aside from that, man, I honestly don't have anything, and I don't know about you, but I'm exhausted. And if you're listening and you're exhausted, go take a nap, because you deserve it.
You do deserve it. And if you're unable to take a nap because you have children, we understand, and it will get better.
Pretend to go to the bathroom and go take a nap. That's how the military does it.
Don't know when it will get better, but it will get better.
It will. It will definitely get better. So
I promise. Eventually.
All right. Well, until next week, we'll talk to you later. Y'all have a great one.
Good night, everybody.
I'm a dad, that's what I do.